Friends, hello and welcome to Pray Lent, this series during Lent where we're thinking about different ways of praying. I've got a wee companion with me today. Meet Jacko. Jacko is a bit of a sleepy monkey, as you can see. Now, for those of you that are a certain age, an age maybe like me, you might remember a TV programme called Daktari. And if you remember Daktari, you'll remember Clarence, the cross-eyed lion. And Daktari also had a little chimpanzee called Judy, who when I was about 5, I fell in love with. And on my Santa Christmas list and to my parents, I didn't want a new puppy, but what I asked for was a monkey. And lo and behold, on Christmas morning, I woke up to find said monkey at the bottom of my bed. So this was a very long time ago, and Jacko has been sleeping and been with my family for a very long time. And like most 5-year-old children, I took Jacko off to church on Christmas morning. And one of the things that I was absolutely delighted by this incredible little wee monkey, who you can actually see is a pajama case. You're supposed to put your pajama in here. But he has these bendy legs. And one of the things I absolutely loved about him was that he sat on the pew in church on Christmas morning, and his wee legs dangled over the edge of the pew in exactly the same way that my wee legs did when I was age 5. And I do remember thinking that this was the coolest thing on the planet, that Jacko's legs were already bendy and that he could sit on the pew. Now, when I got Jacko, one of his arms, here you can see a little wee hole here, was actually attached to his head. And I can't remember at what age, but I do remember unstitching his hands so that his hands could be together, probably so that he could clap or wave his hands about. But I also realised at an early age that he could put his hands together and his knees like this, and that actually he could also pray. And I quite like the idea, this makes me smile, of the creativity and imagination of my 5-year-old self that was working out not only could my monkey sit on a pew, but actually he could pray in a way that I might pray if I was sitting on my knees and putting my hands together at age 5. And today in our prayer, we are thinking around praying with our imagination. I quite like the fact that my 5-year-old self was exploring with Jacko different ways in which he could pray, or different ways in which he could sit in church and encounter God. I kind of really love the imagination of children. So an imaginative contemplation of the Gospels is our invitation for exploring prayer this week. I'm in conversation with Clive McKee, a Methodist minister who has been developing this way of praying from the Ignatian tradition and has created meditations called Taketime. And Clive has been using these in his ministry in prisons, with schools, and in a whole variety of different places, making this way of praying really accessible to a whole variety of people. Let's hear a little bit more about what he says.
As a prison chaplain, I was given the opportunity of a retreat as part of what the prison service offered. And a colleague who'd been to St. Bino said, "You've just got to go." He said it was life-changing. And so I went to St. Bino's and was introduced to Ignatian spirituality and the whole concept of using your imagination to find a space in which to speak with Jesus and to listen. So I'd not been back long from this retreat at St. Bino's when one of the prisoners said to me, "I've never been to church. I don't even know anyone who's been to church. How do you pray?" So I said, "You just talk to God in your mind." She said, "Oh, well, I've tried that. It doesn't work." So I said, "Okay." I said, "What St. Ignatius would say is if you use your imagination to picture yourself in a setting from the Bible, then it's just easier to stay focused, to talk to Jesus and to listen." So she said, much to my surprise, let's do it. So I talked her into watching the leper being healed. And at the end, I said, and now picture Jesus as he turns to you and hear him as he invites you to share with him whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart. So there was a pause, and then this voice said, done that. So I said, and now listen as Jesus responds to you. There was a pause, and she said, done that. So I said, and when you're ready, bring yourself back. So she opened her eyes, and I said, was that of any help? She said, yeah. She said, I met Jesus and I've asked him into my life. So I was stunned. I couldn't believe that someone with no faith background in 2 minutes could have had an encounter which was so real and so powerful that that she wanted Jesus in her life. I think the key to praying with your imagination is that what we're talking about is something which is experiential, as opposed to didactic. It's not about teaching, it's about experience. And so I think we have a natural suspicion of anything that's based on, especially being British, that it's experiential, because goodness knows where our emotions might take us, but it's not emotional as such, it's experiential. So if I'm meeting someone for the first time and I'm talking to them about what is on offer at this prison, part of that conversation may include me saying, do you have a faith background? Do you pray? And someone might say, I don't know if there's anything out there, but I pray. And so I might say, do you find that your mind wanders when you pray? Yes. So I say, well, there's a simple way that Saint Ignatius showed us of praying, whereby it's easier to stay focused. And I can show you that in 2 minutes if you'd like me to. And then if it works for you, it's something you can do by yourself. So the vast majority will say, yeah, what have I got to lose? And so I will, in its simplest form of take time, I will just describe to them standing beside the Sea of Galilee, looking out across that 7 miles of water to the hills on the far side, with a blue sky, a warm sun, a gentle breeze, sound of seagulls, no one around except for Jesus walking towards them. And I would say, picture him as he gets closer, hear him as he greets you by name. And then I'd say, now, right at the water's edge, there's a big flat rock. Jesus invites you to sit on that with him, looking out across the water. Now, just take the opportunity as he invites you to share with him whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart. And just give them a few seconds to do that. And then say, and now listen as he responds, as I said before, whether that be in actions or an image or a change in your feelings or in words, and give them a few seconds to do that. And then say, when you're ready, bring yourself back. So really as simple as that. And the responses are always unique. I remember one lady saying, I shouldn't say this, but that was better than drugs, and it was free and it was good for me. And she said, all my life, I've been in the wrong place. And she said, Jesus said to me, today you were in the right place. So, I mean, every encounter is different, but sometimes so profound for that person. So, my dream is just that more and more people will use this way of praying, pastorally, in worship, to lead groups. The ways of using it are innumerable. We offer training for people to use Take Time in all sorts of different contexts. And the people that have done our training, we call Take Time practitioners. And one of our practitioners now is our school's project lead, and she was a deputy head in a Roman Catholic primary school. She was leading a class once when they had a child who had the most troubled background in the entire school. And she said, I want you first of all to relax and to close your eyes. And this lad just tapped his pencil on the desk. So he just looked at him and indicated to put the pencil down, and he put the pencil down. And she did the take time meditation, and he didn't look like he was engaging. But she got to the end and they were all invited to share, and he didn't say anything. And then they were invited to draw something or write something. And what you can see on the screen is what he wrote. He wrote, I feel happy. I feel comforted. I feel like I have somewhere I belong. I feel safe and calm. I feel cared for. But you think, goodness me, in a few minutes, for a child from a really difficult background to write those things, and the drawing is in pastel shades, delicately done, just amazing.
So Clive, what if I find it hard to imagine, find it hard to use my imagination?
When anyone leads a take time meditation, there is this opportunity for you to talk to Jesus, where you're invited to share whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart. And then there is a space of time in which to do that. And then the words say, and now be open to Jesus' response to you, whether it be in actions or in an image or in a change in your feelings or in words. And so words is put last, to emphasize that the other three are ways in which you sometimes experience Jesus's response. And that might be that you feel hugged, or hand on your shoulder, feel that, you sense that.
So we're now going to experience a take time meditation.
Welcome to Take Time, your opportunity to pause in the busyness of life, to quieten your mind, and to take your spirit to a place of sanctuary. Begin by making sure that you're sitting or lying in a position in which you will be comfortable. Don't worry if your mind wanders. Sometimes it wanders to a place that can bring insight or healing. If it wanders somewhere unhelpful, gently bring it back. Picture yourself in Jericho, the city of palms, with Jesus and his followers. Jesus has been teaching all morning and is ready to move on to Jerusalem, which is about half a day's walk. There is a crowd around Jesus as you approach the limits of the city. Sitting by the roadside is a blind beggar by the name of Bartimaeus. When he realizes the crowd that is passing by is led by Jesus, he shouts, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." As people try to shut him up, he yells all the louder, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus stops in his tracks. "Call him over." They say to him, "It must be your lucky day. Get up, he's calling you to come." Throwing off his coat, probably the only thing he possesses, the beggar jumps up, and the people help him make his way to Jesus. Jesus asks, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man replies, "Teacher, I want to see." Jesus answers, "Go, your faith has saved and healed you." Bartimaeus blinks, and with wide eyes looks slowly all around. Evidently able to see, he shouts his praises to God and insists on accompanying you all as you walk together out of the city. on the road to Jerusalem. It's good to get away from the noise and the bustle of the city and out into the open Jericho plain with the Judean hills ahead. The first part of the journey is easy as you walk through the arable land. Before the road begins the long climb up into the hills, it is decided that everyone should break the journey and rest for a few minutes here in the foothills. From where you are sitting, you are looking back across the wide Jordan plain to the Perean hills beyond. Picture Jesus as he approaches you, and hear him as he greets you by name. He sits down beside you and invites you to share with him whatever is in your heart, whatever is on your mind. Take this opportunity now. And now listen as Jesus responds to what you have shared with him. Just be open to his actions or words, or any feelings or images that he may choose to respond with. Hear him speak your name, and wait for his response. Hold on to anything that Jesus has shared with you, and become aware of your feelings. Just rest in God's presence. When you are ready, end your meditation by gently and slowly bringing yourself back to this time and this place.
So each week I'm going to invite you to join in the weekly prayer challenge, and this is really just an opportunity to give this way of praying a go. At the end of this video, after the credits, is a 15-minute slightly longer version of the healing of blind Bartimaeus. You can use this to pray with this week. Perhaps you might listen to the meditation on different days of the week and see if your encounter with Jesus is different at all. Or you can go to the Taketime website and listen to any of the 5-minute meditations and use these to help you pray this week. You could also just pray with the words of Jesus. What would you like me to do for you? This week, our prayer challenge is to pray with your imagination using any of the Taketime meditations, an imaginative contemplation of the Gospels. If you are interested in being a Taketime practitioner and leading groups in this way of praying, then all the details are also on the Taketime website.
Welcome to Taketime, which will give you time to be still, to find sanctuary in a demanding world, to encounter God and enjoy the kind of peace that only God can give. Begin by making sure that you're sitting or lying in a position in which you will be comfortable. Our session will commence with a simple relaxation exercise and countdown. This will be followed by a visualization based on a Bible passage, in which we imagine an encounter with Jesus. Don't worry if your mind wanders. Usually it wanders to places that bring insight or healing. If it wanders somewhere unhelpful, gently bring it back. At the end of the meditation, I will bring you back by counting up from 1 to 10. The meditation is based on Mark chapter 10, verses 46 to 52. We have many senses, but we will begin by focusing on what we can hear. So close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or lower your gaze so that it falls unfocused on the candle, and focus all your attention on the sounds you can hear from outside this place. Acknowledge these sounds and let them go. Now focus all your attention on the sounds you can hear inside this place. Acknowledge these sounds and let them go. Now move the focus of your attention even closer in and become aware of what you can hear and feel relating to your own breathing. You are not trying to alter the rhythm, but to become aware of each part of your body that is involved in the process. Firstly, focus your awareness on the movement of your stomach as you slowly breathe in and out. Now focus your awareness on the movement of your chest as you slowly breathe in and out. So I count us down from 10 to 1. At each step, just allow yourself to become a little more relaxed. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Picture yourself in Jericho, the city of palms, with Jesus and his followers. Jesus has been teaching all morning and is ready to move on to Jerusalem, which is about half a day's walk. There is a crowd following Jesus as you approach the limits of the city. Sitting by the roadside is a blind beggar by the name of Bartimaeus. When he realizes the crowd that's passing by is led by Jesus, he shouts, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." As people try to shut him up, he yells all the louder, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus stops in his tracks. "Call him over." They say to him, "It must be your lucky day. Get up, he's calling you to come." Throwing off his coat, probably the only thing he possesses, the beggar jumps up, and the people help him make his way to Jesus. Jesus asks, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man replies, "Teacher, I want to see." Jesus answers, "Go, your faith has saved and healed you." Bartimaeus blinks, and with wide eyes looks slowly all around. Evidently able to see, he shouts his praises to God and insists on accompanying you all as you walk together out of the city on the road to Jerusalem. It's good to get away from the noise and the bustle of the city and out into the open Jericho plain with the Judean hills ahead. The first part of the journey is easy as you walk through the arable land. Before the road begins the long climb up into the hills, it is decided that everyone should break the journey and rest for a few minutes here in the foothills. From where you are sitting, you can see back across the wide Jordan plain to the Perean hills beyond. Picture Jesus as he approaches you, and hear him as he greets you by name. He sits down beside you and invites you to share with him whatever is on your mind, whatever is in your heart. Just take this opportunity now. And now listen as Jesus responds to what you have shared with him. Just be open to his response, whether it be in actions, or as a feeling, or an image, or in words. Hear him speak your name, and wait for his response. Hold on to anything that Jesus has shared with you. Hold on to your feelings. For the next few minutes, be still in God's presence, resting in the warmth of his love, gently bringing yourself back to that place of peace each time you notice your mind has wandered. Now very gently and very slowly, bring yourself back to this time and this place, beginning to move your fingers and toes as I count us back up from 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Welcome back.